Ascending to the absolute peak of the spiral brings us face to face with the ultimate archetype of transformation, represented by death as the card of profound structural change rather than a grim end. This transition shatters the illusion of linear time, revealing that the past, future, and present are merely artificial constructs of a mind bound to a physical reality. When you dismantle the machinery of temporal anxiety, you realize there is no actual time-space continuum holding you captive, other than the immediate ticking duration it takes for the universe to unfold until the 10th. Every moment collapses into the eternal now, a singular, infinite point of presence where the frantic need to rush, plan, or regret completely ceases to exist. In this timeless space, endings and beginnings merge seamlessly into one continuous breath, stripping away the fear of change and replacing it with the absolute freedom of pure, unmediated existence. Standing at this summit, you realize that change is not something happening to you over the course of days or years, but a constant, beautiful shedding of illusions that occurs entirely within the borderless expanse of the present moment. The relentless upward movement of the spiral eventually brings every traveler face to face with the most profound crucible of human existence, which is the inevitable, accelerating loss of people and things as the years accumulate. The older we grow, the more visible the shifting sands of time become, as friends, companions, and familiar faces begin dropping like flies around us, leaving behind vast, echoing spaces where vibrant connections once stood. This steady attrition of human presence is often met with paralyzing grief, shock, and a desperate, clawing resistance against the natural law of impermanence that governs all physical manifestations. Yet when this heavy reality is viewed from the elevated summit of the spiral, it ceases to be a cruel tragedy and transforms into the ultimate curriculum of ascension, initiating us directly into the supreme lesson of letting go. Most people misunderstand letting go as a cold, callous act of discarding human beings, treating them like broken tools or unwanted baggage to be thrown aside the moment they become inconvenient or distant. True letting go, however, bears zero resemblance to abandonment or emotional rejection, functioning instead as the highest form of love, respect, and spiritual maturity we can possibly offer another soul. Letting go is the profound, unselfish act of giving people the absolute freedom to travel their own path, pursue their own unique journey, and fulfill their destiny entirely on their own terms, without our interference, demands, or emotional anchors holding them back. This freedom must extend even into the most daunting and mysterious unknown of all, which is death itself, releasing our grip on those we cherish as they cross the final threshold beyond our physical sight. When someone departs from our lives, whether through the gradual drift of changing circumstances, the abrupt parting of paths, or the ultimate transition of mortality, our immediate instinct is to panic, grieve the loss of control, and wish we could hold them in place. We try to bargain with reality, wrapping our memories around them like a protective shroud, wishing we could freeze time or force things back to the way they used to be when everyone was young and present. Yet clinging to a departing soul is an act of fear, signaling an inability to trust the grand cosmic mechanics of existence, and a desperate refusal to accept that every chapter has a natural final page. To let go gracefully is to recognize that another person's existence does not belong to you, and that their journey, including the moment their physical light flickers out, is entirely their own sacred passage to navigate. As we watch more and more people drop away from our immediate sphere of daily life, the illusion of permanence shatters completely, clearing our vision so we can finally perceive the timeless, unchanging reality that lies beneath the surface. This massive thinning of the physical herd is not a punishment handed down by a harsh universe, but a deliberate clearing of the field, stripping away superficial attachments to prepare us for the highest levels of spiritual evolution. Each departure tests our capacity to maintain our inner peace, our joy, and our sovereign balance, even when the external landscape becomes profoundly lonely and quiet. Instead of viewing these losses as devastating blows that diminish our own spirit, the ascending spiral teaches us to look back with overwhelming gratitude for the seasons we shared, releasing each traveler with an open palm and a blessing for the road ahead. This brings us to the profound realization that letting go of someone to death or distance is the ultimate test of non-attachment, requiring us to love fiercely without needing to possess, control, or permanently house anyone within our ego's domain. When you truly grasp that time is an illusion, and that the eternal now contains every soul who ever touched your life, physical separation loses its terrifying jagged edge. You begin to understand that love does not die or vanish just because a physical body stops breathing or a path diverges across the horizon. It simply shifts frequencies, resting safely within the infinite tapestry of the timeless present. Releasing someone into the unknown of death requires an immense surrender of will, forcing you to step out of the frantic urge to manage the unmanageable, and instead trust the absolute perfection of the universal flow. This deep release elevates your consciousness to a realm where grief is no longer a dark, consuming prison, but a sacred, quiet reverence for the beauty of having crossed paths in this vast, sprawling theater of existence. You stop mourning the temporary nature of physical vessels, realizing that every single person who ever walked beside you played their exact, necessary role in sculpturing your soul into what it is today. By giving them the freedom to leave, to change, and to pass beyond the veil without your desperate emotional anchors holding them down, you honor their autonomy and your own spiritual sovereignty simultaneously. The lesson of letting go is thus the crown jewel of the spiral's ascent, teaching you that true peace is found only when you can hold the entire world lightly in your hands, loving everything intensely while possessing absolutely nothing at all.